So I have to start with this question. Why aren't more people talking about this? It blows my mind that so many women, so many couples are affected by this each year, yet not many people are talking about it. And the sad reality is, I never saw myself in this position. I never envisioned myself talking about this either. But I became part of the statistic, and I really feel compelled to share, not only as part of my healing, talking about what happened to my husband and I, but to help others, to hopefully make a small dent in what could help a lot of people that are affected by both stillbirths and miscarriages each year. So today in particular is really special for my husband and me because today's the day that Aiden was supposed to be born. Today's August 8th. Today's the due date that we looked forward to for so many months. We had a countdown to this day, and we were planning for it, envisioning what it would be like, and really looking forward to everything that would come after this date. And as you know, that that didn't turn out. It didn't turn out how we thought it would. Everything that we planned for was turned upside down. So shockingly and unexpectedly. Um, but again, we became part of a statistic, and as we've researched, we've committed ourselves to learning, as we heal and as we just grow and evolve as people through what's been a life-changing event for us. But we've learned that 1 in 4 women are affected by pregnancy loss or miscarriage each year. About 21,000 families in the US are affected by stillbirths each year. The statistics are unfortunately pretty astronomical. And then when you drill down deeper and you look at minorities like Black women, we're even more disproportionately affected. About 1 in 100 Black women are affected by stillbirth each year. So, I mean, part of me, like I said, is just mind blown that a lot more people are not talking about this. But then another part of me understands, because it's such a deep, gut wrenching pain that really cuts you to your core. And it's hard to talk about. It's painful to talk about. The wound is open, and we have that desire to protect ourselves, protect our emotions, but then at the same time, there could be a sense of shame in being so vulnerable about something that you were so excited about and now lost. So I understand that part of it too. But as we journey through, as my husband and I journey through this process together, grow together, really lean on each other and heal together, we hope that sharing our story can impact a few people along the way. And for us, pregnancy and starting a family has always been such a positive, something that we talked about from the early days of us dating. We were able to align. I remember when we would go on our dates and we would have these in-depth conversations. In fact, our first date, my husband and I, we were at all you can eat sushi, and we were talking for almost 3 hours. And part of our early dating conversation centered around family, centered around what we want for our future. Kids were obviously a topic of conversation, how we would raise our kids, the values that we would pass on to our kids. So it was always something that we were aligned on and really longed for and planned for. So, kind of fast forwarding through our dating journey, uh, we got engaged in 2024. So this year, September, last year, September 2023, we got engaged. And in October of 2023, we signed on a new house together. This just kind of shows how much of a whirlwind the past few months have been for us. September 2023, engaged. October of 2023, moving in or signing on a new house together. No, early November of 2023, we moved into that new house together. And in late November 2023, we found out that we were pregnant, and we had been trying. We were so excited. Again, this is something that we longed for, and I've got pictures of, when we took our pregnancy test and when we found out. I remember that day just being so excited. I wanted to know, as crazy as it sounds, I wanted to know the gender of our baby that day. And I wanted to start planning, and just the nature of my personality, I'm such a planner, and especially when I'm excited and passionate about something. So I just remember wanting to fast forward through everything and know the gender, and get the nursery ready, and just do all the things that come along with motherhood. We were just so over the moon when we found out. In fact, we shared it with our family, so it's advised, and any mother who's been pregnant knows that it's advised to share after the 12-week mark. After you hit the 12-week mark, you're considered to be less at risk of a miscarriage. And I want to define, actually, miscarriage versus stillbirth. So miscarriage happens prior to 20 weeks, and stillbirth happens after. And for stillbirth, there are several different classifications. There's early stillbirth, there is late stillbirth, and there's term stillbirth. And our stillbirth, because it happened at 36 weeks, 6 days, 37 weeks almost, was a term stillbirth. But once we found out, again, not to get off track, but once we found out we were pregnant, and just going through all of these emotions, all of the excitement, we wanted to share with family immediately. Doctors advised share after 12 weeks. We could not wait that 12 weeks. I could not wait that 12 weeks. We shared on Christmas Eve 2023, and I remember our family just being in tears. We had our moms, my mom, my husband's mom. Everybody was so excited about the news, and particularly to have a baby in 2024, with Aiden's due date being August 2024. He would be born in the year of the dragon. So he would be not only the first grandson for my parents, and the first grandchild for my parents, and the first grandson for my in-laws, my husband's parents, but he would be born in this year of the dragon, which is really coveted for a variety of reasons in Chinese culture. Year of the dragon is a year that holds a lot of positivity and a lot of future promise for babies, especially baby boys. So to have all of these positive signs, we felt like, this is our perfect child. This is our perfect plan, and this is everything coming together just like we planned for it to when we started dating. Not only is he a baby boy, he's born in the year of the dragon, which is important in Chinese culture. Um, but he's also, his due date is August 8th. 8 8. Eights are a very significant date in Chinese culture as well. So, just again, all of these things pointing to positivity for us, for our families, and we were really, really looking forward to what was to come. Um, when I want to talk about our pregnancy journey, because for all of our journey, really up until the date that we were in the doctor's office and found out that our baby had no heartbeat, everything was so smooth. Everything went perfectly according to plan. And there are lots of appointments that you have as you go through the pregnancy journey, and as you go through, and as your gestational age increases, there's lots of checkpoints. During those checkpoints, you're looking at things like the baby's ultrasounds, obviously, the baby's vital organs, the baby's growth, their weight. Is everything in line? Are there any chromosomal abnormalities? All of these things are being checked. And long story short, baby Aiden passed every single test. We had no concerns. The same goes for me. My vital signs, my blood pressure, everything that was being checked for me, swelling, any complications. I had none. I had no complications. Everything was really smooth with the pregnancy. Again, all the way up into that 36-week, 6-day mark when we found out our baby had no heartbeat. So when I reflect on that day, I mean, there are so many emotions when you're going in for what is supposed to be a regular routine appointment, um, and you find out that you've lost everything. You've lost your first baby and what you've planned for and hoped for and already envisioned to the point where I had people laugh at me, but I knew what school I wanted Aiden to go to. Don and I knew what sports we wanted Aiden to play. So we were pretty invested parents, and to have everything pulled from us, it ripped us to our core. And there, obviously, we're not even 1 month removed, and there's still so much pain. But looking back on that day, there are so many questions, and I know other mothers that have been through this probably had some of the same questions I had of what and what happened and how did this happen and why did this happen and was there anything that I could have done to prevent it. And, as you rack your brain through all of those questions, again, I realized that for myself, I had to find peace. I had to find strength, and I had to find comfort. And that only came as I got closer in my relationship with God, as I strengthened my connection with Him, and as I leaned on Him more so than I ever have in my life. That's what I had to do as a result of this journey. And I have to admit, I want as I share my story, Dawn's story, Aiden's story, I want to commit to being as honest and as authentic and as vulnerable as I possibly can, because I feel like that's the way that we're going to help the most people. But I mean, you just you question everything, and you're in this very dark place. But I I knew that there's a reason why this happened. And from even before Don and I started dating, even before Aiden was thought of and was planned for, God God knew. God knew, and God had a purpose for little Aiden's life. And I've come so much closer to God through this process and learned to lean on Him so much more than I ever have in my life. And in my honesty and vulnerability and looking within myself, I'd found that I'd really drifted. I drifted from Him, and I'd found myself really just going through almost a ritualistic routine of going to church, reading a couple verses, maybe here or there, but feeling like I've got this life thing. I've got it under control. I've got my plan. My baby's on the way. I've got a strong marriage, and I've got it all figured out. God told me, Asia, no, your plan is not the one that we're going to see through right now. It's my plan. So I've really, really deepened my relationship and deepened my faith through this unexpected journey that I'm now on. So, what I want to talk about is that that feeling after you get the news and knowing what the next steps are going to be. So, we got the news that our baby had no heartbeat on July 17th, and we immediately drove, my husband and I, tearful in the car. We drove to the hospital knowing we've got to deliver this baby boy. And when we deliver him, we already know what the outcome's going to be. We're not going to get to hear our baby cry. We're not going to get that skin to skin contact and feel our baby boy and feel his little heart beating like we thought we would. We're not going to have that moment. So I'm scared. I'm very anxious. And the unknown really sent me into a very negative mind space. I don't know. I've heard stories about the labor and delivery process and how some women feel like they're on the verge of death. And I just don't know how it's going to affect me personally. And that was a very, very scary reality that I was confronted with. But no one can take that pain, no one can take that burden away from you. You have to endure it yourself. And in those moments, I really realized just how strong of a woman I am. I got through it. I'm sitting here today. So I got through it, but it was not easy. It was not easy. In fact, I had some complications during the labor and delivery process, particularly when I got my epidural. When I got my epidural, my blood pressure went to 60 over 40, and my heart rate was 148. I remember my husband and my parents being in the room with me, and everything went blurry. I got very clammy. I was sweating, and I just felt this out of body experience that I'd never felt before in my life. And at that moment, I'm thinking, I, I don't want my family, I don't want my loved ones to lose Aiden and me. It was it was arguably the scariest moment of my entire life. And fortunately, I had a team that was able to stabilize my vitals and get me back to a normal blood pressure and stabilize my pulse. But still, it was such a scary moment. And after that, I thought, I want this to be over. I want this nightmare to be over, whatever that means. If that means, getting a C-section, I want it over with. So I remember doctors advising me against getting a C-section. I remember doctors saying, there are several complications associated with this, and are you sure you want to proceed? In fact, at the level that you're dilated, it's highly recommended that you deliver vaginally. And in this moment, in this emotional space that I was already in, I said, I want a C-section. I've got to get this over with. So my C-section was planned on July 18th for 8 a.m. And as the minutes approached, I felt a discomfort. I really felt like I had to have a bowel movement. And I told the nurses to come in. And at that time, I'd already been briefed actually by anesthesia. I'd already been briefed about what the C-section process would be like, what that would entail, and who would be in the room with me. I'd already had the full briefing. And I felt this, again, overwhelming urge to have a bowel movement. The nurses came in and they said, we just want to check and make sure it's not baby. I'm 10 minutes from going back into the room to get my C-section, going into the operating room. And it was Aiden. So I still believe to this day that it was divine intervention that I ended up delivering vaginally, because it's really aided in my healing. There's so much, this is something that's also not talked about very often, is there's so much emotional healing that has to happen after a traumatic event like this, after you lose your baby, whether it's a miscarriage, whether it's stillborn. There's so much emotional trauma. But in our case, with our stillborn baby, there's so much physical healing as well. For me, having endured delivery and having to heal physically and also take care of my body on top of what I've endured emotionally and the trauma associated with it, it's to say it's a lot is an understatement. It's a load that I never ever anticipated having to carry. And as I journey through this healing, I'm learning again so much more about myself, just how strong I am and just what I am capable of. We are strong beings. We are strong individuals and we're capable of a lot. So not having something like this define me in a negative way is something that I am striving towards. I know Aiden's life has so much purpose and so much meaning, and I reflect positively on the times that my husband and I have with him, and feeling his little kicks, feeling his movements, and just playing music for him, all the little things that we would do. We reflect positively on that. And I'm looking at this, my husband and I, we talk about this a lot throughout life. You have what we call micro defining moments. So this may be going back again to us dating. I was talking about that earlier. Maybe us taking our first trip together. How do we interact with each other? How do we travel? Do we bicker a lot? Are we able to navigate challenges? Challenges when you travel could be, oh, there's a traffic delay, or we had to check in at this time and we ended up checking in late. Whatever the case may be, let's call that a micro defining moment. How do you get through that? Do you weather that storm? Well, this one with our baby Aiden is definitely a macro defining moment. This is a huge life changing moment for us. And we've made the commitment to each other to handle it in the most positive, most healthy way that we know how to do. For me, that's been rededicating and redevoting myself to God, really taking time each day, not only to talk to Him, but to listen to Him. For so long, I have directed my own life. I have been the planner. I have been the one to say what I'm going to do and when I'm going to do it. But knowing that He is the author, He is the finisher, He is the one in control, and I am surrendering. To surrender in my case is not to give up, to just say that's it, but it's to give my life over to the one who created me and know that He's got a purpose and He's got a plan far better, far greater than anything that I could construct on my own. That's what this has meant to me, is just a rededication of myself to Him and my spiritual growth, and knowing that that's going to be lifelong. In my perfectionistic and often impatient nature, this has been the hardest thing for me to do, but baby Aiden's given me new purpose, and I'm at the point where I am ready for that rededication and excited about what it holds for my future, for my personal growth, for my marriage, for everything that I am involved in. I really look forward to that, and I see that as a positive outcome and something that would have never happened had it not been for our baby boy, our angel Aiden. So I'm really thankful for that. And as I said, there's a lot of pain, but we know that that pain, if there's anything I could tell other mothers, it's that let's know that our pain is temporary. Um, there's there's a lot that I'm undergoing, I'll say, in my healing process, and a lot that I'd like to share in future videos, just about the steps I've taken, how the process for me to this point. I'm again less than 1 month removed. I'm actually 3 weeks on the day removed from delivering baby Aiden. So, and there's already so much that I've been through. So, there's a lot that I want to share. But most importantly, the process for me has not been linear. I don't go from one stage of grief to the next, to the next, to the next in this perfect sequential order. It has not looked like that for me. I have days where I break down. I have days where I'm able to find a little bit of joy. I have days where I'm able to smile and laugh even with Dawn, or watch something that's funny and distracting on TV. But every day, every minute of every day is so different. But if I could just tell other mothers to hang on, hold tight to your faith, and surround yourself with loved ones, who people who are really really there for you. I'll say in this time, it's been so amazing for Don and I to see the love, to see the true character of the people that we surround ourselves with. It's been overwhelming. We've had so many messages, positive messages, people sending, so much comfort and love to us. We've had flowers, we've had people deliver us home cooked meals, and just the list goes on and on. But there's been an abundance and an overflow of love sent our way, and it means so, so much. So, in future videos, I do want to talk a bit more about the healing process and some specifics on what it's looked like for me, and my journey is a lot different. I know from other women's journeys, but my hope is to help. And I am excited about embarking on this journey. I'm excited about the evolution just of Asia and what that looks like. And hopefully there's a lot of positive impact, and it's coming as a result of our angel baby Aiden. So if you've watched for this long, thank you, and please continue to take this journey with me.